Welcome to the Riff. Today on the Riff, Jeremy and Justin talk about anger. What do you do with it? Is it good? Is it bad? Can it be a tool? We hope today is helpful and hopeful. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to another episode of The Riff. I am thrilled that you logged in today, that you clicked play on that device, because without you, the Riff Raff, all we are is a bunch of noise.
That's so true.
Even with you, there are times all we are is a bunch of noise. But I'm Jeremy. I'm your co-host.
I'm Justin. I'm your co-host.
And Justin, welcome back.
Thanks.
Good to have you here.
Thanks.
So,
listen, I enjoyed last week. I enjoyed listening.
Well, I was actually curious about that. So when we have a guest, do you get a little bit butthurt about it?
I mean, there was when there is a guest, I feel like, okay, number one, good for them.
Yeah.
Number two, why not me? Right?
Yeah.
That's the immediate next question.
That's very natural.
But then you listen to the guest and you're like, okay, number three, good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then number four, it's like, but next week will be, I'll be back. So
yeah.
But Whitney, her story's great.
Oh, Whitney's what we call a gem in the biz.
She's great.
Yeah.
And I love it that she didn't name me as bottom 5 staff member.
No,
So
she
that
didn't.
was,
She
I mean,
didn't.
she did not name me.
No,
because
she
didn't say
texted
it.
though
Did
after.
she?
Yeah.
I could-
She's like,
yeah.
I felt it would have been awkward had I said Justin. And I was like, I would be fine with it for him maybe.
No, I get it. I get it.
But yeah, so part of it is I don't ever know. Do I tell you in advance that I got a guess? I don't. I just surprise you with it because I don't want it to like ruin your sleep or anything like that.
No.
But there's been times where you've interviewed a guest without me. And guess what I do? I don't even listen to
No,
those
I
weeks.
knew you wouldn't.
No, I'm like-
because I've asked you questions on those, and you've just completely blown by
How
those.
dare you?
I know.
But today we're both here, so we're
that's a
both
good
happy
one.
as a lark. So,
It's a good one.
so what kind of fun topic do we got today, Justin?
This one's
It's the
gonna
Riff.
it's gonna make you laugh. It's gonna make you giggle.
Okay.
This one's gonna be a fun one.
Okay.
It's when you're angry at God. See? Huh? Isn't that fun?
That's gonna be a good one.
Oh,
When you're
my
angry
goodness.
at God.
Yeah. I think it's a fascinating topic because I think that there are moments in my life where I become angry. And then I feel like, what am I angry at? And then if I can't name the anger and I can't name where it is like pointing towards, sometimes the default's just like, higher being, God, I'm mad. So it's interesting. So I think that there's an emotional level to this. I think there's an emotional intelligence and maturity to this, but I also think that there is an aspect to anger that I think can be really positioned and targeted towards what we would call Jesus, God, wherever you are in your journey. I call it God. And there's times where I find myself mad, right? Or angry, whether it be injustice, whether it be racism, whether it be something that is larger scale, or whether it is something that is very personal and very intimate in my life, right? So there's all of these different things that I think create anger. And I love a lot of stuff that you've gone through with anger, of that anger isn't bad. It's not a bad emotion, right? That is a helpful piece to tell you what's going on. And I think that it's really helpful just to hear from you on if you find yourself in a place like that, like I said, whether it be large scale or intimate, what do you do with it? What do you do with that, and how does it move you forward? And that's the conversation today.
Well, yeah, that's heavy, and I think
I'm going to call this one Angry Pants.
Angry Pants.
Yeah.
That title,
Just to let you know. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
I can't tell you how many times I've Googled Angry Pants and I haven't found a podcast. So this one, of all you brand new listeners,
Oh man, they're gonna love
welcome
it.
to Angry Pants, episode 140 something. Anger. So let's walk through what that emotion is. Like start with, and then we could talk about where it's pointed, why it's pointed, all those kind of things. But so let me define it from my perspective, and you kind of shape it from yours. I believe anger is a short-term burst of energy on the inside that is a response to seeing something that is not just and is not right. It could be often a personal response because I am the victim of injustice. You cut me off on the road, or you did not acknowledge me, and I could feel that energy quickly wanting me to do something. And that could be a verbal spar quickly, this energy to say something, but it has to, it's this energy that wants to come out right now. It's claustrophobic. It needs to get out. Or it could be something, this long-term sense of this isn't right. That just brews, whether you're watching the news, whether you're sitting on a medical report, whether you're evaluating lack of opportunity and seeing other people, whatever it might be. For those listening, we've all have our own journey of where we felt this long grade anger. And ultimately it's this isn't right. Sad is I'm bummed this happened. I feel like I lost something. Anger, to me, if I'm defining it, anger is not only did I lose something, potentially, this isn't right. I don't have a place to park this. And so now I need to respond. So I don't know, that's how I define, how do you define anger?
I would say that's, yeah. I think it's really helpful to understand it as a short burst of energy to move you forward. Yeah. I think that's what I would define it as. And I think so many times, just personally, I will not allow it to be short term. So then I'll let it simmer. And the way that I am super mature is that I'll be super gruff or snappy, whether it be at work, whether it be with my family. And it looks like I'm being Enneagram 3 and getting stuff done. But it's really just I'm angry at something and I don't even want to deal with this. So just get it done, or stop that, or just stop talking. Yeah. So there's those pieces to it where I don't allow it to be that short-term fuel. So I think that's something that's important that we want to walk through, at least I want to walk through. How do you take that, recognize it, and then really make it a short-term piece to move forward? Because I think for anger, for me, it's really, I think you said, it's hard to park it. And I think that's where I get stuck in times of I'm angry because it's not right, or I don't agree with this.
Right.
I still don't think it's right, and I still don't agree with it, right? So how am I not angry about it now? So I think that's really important to walk through. So how do you try to make that a short-term element in your life?
Well, I think it's important that we do it. And again, I'm not a psychologist. So I don't know how.
But you are a doctor.
I am a doctor, but not that kind. Please don't show me that. So for me, the way I think I've processed this, and I've heard this. I don't know how accurate it is, but when you have fear, the emotion of fear, but you don't know what to do with it, and it doesn't leave you. It turns into, that could be one reason for anxiety. One cause of anxiety is fear that gets trapped and you don't know what to do with it. And I've heard anger, when it gets trapped, could be one form of depression. And again, that's not the root of all anxiety, not the root of all depression. But one of the causes of that can be an anger that's rattling around like a pinball and it has no release. If you don't have a next step, if you don't have an action, you don't have a response, then all of a sudden this injustice, you start feeling like, well, this is just the way it is. And that's a heaviness that can lead to depression. And so I feel it is important that you figure out, when I have that energy, I either have to let it go or I have to release it. And when I say release it, I don't mean let it go. I mean, I have to direct it, right? So correct it or direct it, right? Could be an easy way to remember this. So for example, I feel the same way when I get cut off in traffic sometimes. I can feel the same way as when someone I love gets sick. That same energy, it's the same amount sometimes. And it's a short-term deal. And so the first thing I need to do is say, do I need to correct this? And one easy one is when I'm getting angry over something I shouldn't be angry about. I have to recognize it and be like, oh my word, that just made me angry. I just felt I was the victim of injustice because somebody cut me off or somebody slighted me. And then I just got to realize It's really not injustice. That's my perception of it. And I can correct it and be done with it. Okay. And then when I just say it out loud, say, you know what? They cut me off. They must be in a hurry, or they just must be a lunatic. And that's all right. Corrected. Done. And now I don't have to do anything about it. But if I don't take the time to even process that mentally, I'm just like, oh my word, man, this world's out to get me. As something as little as that, and it adds up. And just so I have to literally out loud say that. But there's some things I can't correct, and I think it would be unhealthy to try and correct. If someone I love is sick, for me to be like, well, that's what heaven's for. Which could be a spiritual sounding correction. Really, man, that'll mess you up. Not that I don't believe in heaven, and not that I don't believe that in the end God will make all things right, but I have to be able to understand I can't correct this. And so now I got to direct this. So what do I do with this energy? I have to figure out a next step. What do I do? So, because if I don't do anything, I'm either going to have a really shallow faith system that comes across like Pollyanna, and it's not going to help those around me. It's probably not going to help me. Or I will just struggle into some depression because I don't know what to do with this energy. So that, I think it's important to start with, why do we need to direct it or correct it? And then how do you do it was the question. Is you just come up with, okay, how do I use some of this energy? And if I use this energy, it doesn't mean I'm not going to keep coming back to it because I'm going to get more of this anger. But every time I get it, I'm getting filled this bucket of anger. It came to me today right now because I just heard this or I just experienced that. I need to now pour that out in somewhere, not dismissing it, but something helpful is the next step. And it could be saying, okay, I'm mad that this happened to a loved one. So how can I do a practical thing that will help my loved one or help other loved ones? So I'm going to take this energy and I'm going to focus now on adding some life, adding some help, adding some justice, right? For me, that's better than trying to strike out at the person who did this, right? And you mentioned, like, what if there's no person? Then by default, it's God.
Right.
And that's a question is maybe you really theologically believe it was God, or you just don't have anyone else, and so we pick on the invisible one.
Right.
And I think that's at least I think that's a healthy conversation to have personally, to say, right now, am I mad at God because my theology believes he did this? Or I'm just mad and I don't know who else to go to. And God, since I can't hear from you, I think
Top of the line, man.
It's you.
Yeah, you're in.
And that's all right. And if that's at least you know now, I don't know if I am mad at God. I'm just mad, God. And that's all right. Yeah. So I don't know. So there's a lot of different situations that we get angry about, but I think it's important that we do something. Otherwise, we're going to have to ditch theology because God isn't powerful. Or if he is powerful, he's not good. And that will be depression. Because if I have to land there, so I have to have another option, and that says God's not done. So what do I do to help? And what does done mean? And how do I define that? And what can I do in the meantime? And so I try and get to that spot.
It's good. If I can't correct it, I need to direct it.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that tattooed.
No, you should.
No, it's gonna be good.
We're
throat.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
Come on. I like it. A resume breaker right there. But honestly, have you seen Preston's tattoo on his throat?
Yes. That's why he wears turtlenecks.
Yeah, I know. I know. I've never seen it.
No, I
This
know.
turtleneck.
It is gnarly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a graphic dragon. It's really cool. It's a really cool piece. I think that's helpful. I also think that's why I love North Point.
What was that?
I think that you can show up at North Point and you, like when we say it's a safe place, Whitney talked about it last week. If you haven't listened, go ahead and listen.
Yeah.
Go listen.
Yeah.
Just jump back one.
She's a gem.
You said that.
Yeah,
in the biz. But she mentioned like one of the reasons she loves North Point, you really can show up as you are, right? Now our prayer isn't that you don't stay as you are. We hope to bring hope and life and healing, but you really can. So we're coming out of the Easter season, and we walked through a thing the week before Easter. I got to share with the team. Mart's asked for me to say something in a huddle. I had no idea what I was going to say, but then it came to me it's Palm Sunday, the week before Easter, and we celebrate it's such a huge celebration at Easter, and there's so many like high fives and smiles, and it's awesome. I love Easter. I really do. I love it. I think I like Palm Sunday better. Like, I think that's like real. And Easter is real. I'm not saying it's not. I love it, but there is no Easter if it's not for Palm Sunday. And when people are walking in like thinking it's going to be a triumphal entry, and then the week sucks, and then you end it with Good Friday.
Yeah.
And North Point, I really do believe does a good job of meeting people in that space and bringing them to Easter, right? And bringing them into the resurrection. I just love it. So I'm thinking like right now, anytime that I get upset, mad, and that I want to categorize things and I can't categorize it, I find myself loving going to the Dream Center. Yeah. So I think that's helpful. So if you're listening and you're mad right now,
that's a way to pour out that energy.
You should sign up for the Dream Center. Yeah. But it really does. It puts things in perspective. It brings me together with people that I love. And it really does help like you understand like there's something bigger going on.
Yeah.
Right. There is something bigger going on, and we're all mad at something, angry at something, but we're also all hurting. But we're also all healing. And we're also like, there's just so many pieces to it. So I think that's helpful. I think that's a really helpful aspect to it, because I think when you, in times past in my life, anytime I've gotten into an angry space, I'm an introvert at heart. So I would easily like, just kind of be like, no. And that's what would like elongate it. Is that what you would say?
That's the way I say it. If that's wrong, I don't want to be right.
No, I don't. So I think that's a crucial piece, at least to my journey through all of that. When I hear you say, if you can't correct it, direct it, I think that's a great way to direct it.
I think is if we think through those lens, some of us, our faith background, we feel like we have to correct it because anger is wrong, anger is sin, and that's just not accurate. It's not Bible. We can certainly use that fuel to do some sinny things quickly and thoroughly because it's energy. So anger can lead us in the wrong. If we don't direct it or correct it, we can get to sin in a hurry. We can hurt people we love, and we can hurt our relationship with God. Again, that doesn't even make us bad. It just makes us hurting more and missing out. So we need to understand some anger you're not going to correct. And I've done way too many funerals to feel like we should be able to correct all anger. I mean, there's funerals that I've done. I'm like, this is terrible. Like I think of the verse of all creation groans until God makes us right. And I'm like, good governor, right? And so there are times where the best response I can do is just groan and be like, this isn't right. Mm-hmm. But I'm reminded, even God says this isn't right. God groans at this and says, this is not right. And then I have to go back to does that mean he's not good? No, he's good because he says it's not right. Is it because he has no power? And so he's got no power. And then he's like, he's just not done. Mm-hmm. And all my hope is not in that one day, this big fire escape plan. We'll get out of here and neener for those who didn't believe what we believed. But it is, can kingdom of heaven come crashing down right here in the middle of this? Like sometimes in American Christians could think of, man, the descriptions of what people would say, hell or tribulation in scripture, traditional expressions of that, like that sounds terrible. Torture and weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's called Tuesday for a lot of people on this planet. Like for a lot of people, they're in the middle of it. The what we would determine as like a tribulation, apocalyptic type of literature and scripture, that's their reality. That's their daily description. You can see that on the news. And so what we need to say is, man, is they're groaning. They've got this anger. There's this injustice going on that is their reality. And so I would say to those who are going through injustice to not give up, not to dismiss it, but to say, okay, hey, as long as you have energy in your anger, that's good, because that energy now can be a fuel for you. Despondence is when the energy is gone, and I don't have it anymore. So if you've got anger towards God, it's a sign of health. It is. It really is. And now be curious about it, and then ask yourself, do I theologically believe God is throwing this at me, and is he not good? And if you're there, that sucks. What do you do with that? Well, try and go on this rebellion against this bad God and do some good in the world, I guess, right? If you believe that. I mean, I guess that's the only, what are you going to do? You're going to go get God? So if you theologically believe that God is this person who's sending this to you, then I guess your best response still is going to be do some good. Theologically, I would argue with that, theologically. And I'm fine wherever you need to land. I don't need to talk you into it. But theologically, I would say, no, that's why we're here. That's why we need to bring hope, because my body's going to be racked with pain one day. It will be. My body is going to be decaying. And if I'm lucky, I get to a spot where my body decays. Like, that's crazy. If I eat right, stiff arm death, one day I can just have a miserable decaying time. That's my promise, because it's life. Life isn't life without death. And so I'm going to need to know these promises one day. And if I go through a season where I go through tragedy before the tragedy of my older age, if I go through a tragedy younger age, I'm hoping people use that energy and do some good. I'm hoping if I've got any energy during that time or an opportunity that I do some good in that. So to me, I don't think it messes up my theology when the things that cause anger happen to us. I think it's opportunity to explore and then be part of this mission of bringing kingdom principles even now. But yeah, when children die young, when cancer rots bones, when racial injustice or any kind of injustice robs dignity, that's why even if you look back in history, they say that those who take a test for Martin Luther King Jr., I don't think he took the test, but the Enneagram test, they say he was an 8. It based on the attributes and characteristics and what people know, and then they add that. Most people would say he was an 8. And one of the superpowers of an 8 is they take anger and they use that to do a power in the right direction. And we joke about people could be an 8-hole. That's when they have that sense of anger, because an 8 is more prone to justice than almost anybody else. And that's not right. And so they have this felt anger. And when they can direct it right, they're the people that have the power to knock down walls that the rest of us don't have the power to do. So I would say if you have anger, use it to knock down a wall. A lot of times anger makes us build up a wall. And we're just like, and then when you're trapped in a wall with your anger, that eventually leads to despondency. So if you've got it, if you're frustrated, do something with it. Shout it out. Walk through it. Process it. It's got to get out of you. And not that it has to leave, but then you have to express it, be curious about it, and then direct that sucker. I don't know.
I think that's so helpful.
Yeah, I hope so. I would think there's a lot of people who right now are listening who are dealing with anger. There's, for me, I've recently walked through anger where I'm just like, man, if something doesn't go the way I want it to, like even just thinking, man, I don't get what I want. At the end of the day, I have to think, okay, it's probably good for me, because that sense of anger makes me think, why am I mad? And it's all right. It's all right not to get what I want. It's all right, as a parent, there have been times where I've been really sad and sometimes mad at whether it was physical challenge of my daughter, right, Janaea, when she was really little. And, I remember thinking like, we'd be at Children's Hospital and I'd see other situations and other parents, a lot of parents there, man. That's quite a fraternity, right? When you see that hallway and sometimes even seeing that, you're like, oh man, like I have this anger. But then when I see other needs and opportunities, you're like, it doesn't make me like, thank you that my kid's going through this, but like, thank you that I still have an opportunity. Thank you that my kid can receive love. Thank you that I could communicate it. And not this Pollyanna, but this real sense of, okay, I can't waste this opportunity because I'm mad at a missed opportunity. So we all get angry when we miss opportunities, health-wise, physically, career-wise, but let's not miss this opportunity because we're mad at the missed opportunity. So, man, if you got someone who's sick, you got someone who's going through that, serve, love, get in there, work with it. And it's not going to make it go away. It's not going to make you not be angry, but then I think it could be productive anger. You think about this, MAD. You know the acronym MAD?
No.
School assemblies growing up. Mothers Against
MADD.
Yeah.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, even that story was a gal who lost her daughter to a drunk driver and was so mad. And then that led to despondency of like, this world sucks. Mm-hmm. And that is natural, but not helpful. So she got to a spot though, where she felt that anger again and started doing something to educate people, to raise awareness of the dangers of irresponsible partying, right? And so it became a whole thing in the 80s and 90s. I don't know if it's still a thing, but that whole acronym MAD is because she was mad and did it right. So I'm glad there's anger. Anger, when you see it directed right, then you're like, that was a gift. So when you're angry, I know we gotta be careful. You don't ask, what's the gift in this situation? Because that's silly. Some situations, there's no gift there. But what's the gift in this fuel? Is there a gift in this fuel? Do I now have a fuel with my anger? Not because the situation was a gift and it ain't a gift from God. But is this energy that I have right now a gift that I can use towards someone or something that can help bring some justice?
I even think that too. Like, we always think of gift as a positive term. Like, gift is just something you're given, right? Like, that's not, I've gotten bad gifts. Yeah. I have. Yeah. I haven't told them, but they've been like, that's not what I wanted. That's not really what I wanted. So that's interesting when you say that, because I mean, it is still a gift, right? But again, it doesn't necessarily need to mean like positive, but what can come from it, right?
Yeah.
What can, that's helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing you've ever gotten me, by the way.
No.
You looked at me like,
that's why
and then your
eyebrow
kind of went up. I know you're not
like,
watching, but
was I
No.
was I the one?
It wasn't
But then
you.
I was like, I don't give gifts. So I'm like, ooh, that's why. That's why.
You can't.
I'm thoughtful enough not to do that to you, man. Like birthday, a bunch of thoughtless people dropping off baskets for you. Not this guy.
No,
I know you better.
Not Dr.
than that.
J. That's right.
No,
that's right.
no. Yeah. So if you're mad at God, so what would you say? Like, mad at God, good thing, bad thing?
Oh, I would totally agree with you. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it makes you alive.
Yeah.
I think it makes you curious. I think it's really unhelpful if you stay there.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you look at the Psalms. Like, he's mad. He's mad. He's mad. Right. But it's directing. It's questioning. It's. I think it's so healthy to walk through that and then to know yourself even better while you understand God better. Like, there's just a very healthy dynamic to that. So I think it's probably unhealthy to stay away from it and very unhealthy to stay in it for a long time. But I think I would theologically be right in line with that. I think it's a very, very healthy thing.
Yeah,
I do.
It's hard to be mad at something you don't care about. Right?
For sure.
That's why I get so mad when people offend me, because I care about me, right? But think about that. There's a lot of global issues going on, but we're only mad about the things that we really care about.
Yeah.
If we know someone personally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not personally mad about gingivitis. One day I might be, right? About this. I don't know if that's a thing, but out there, but like, I've never been mad about it. I've never thought I'm going to start this campaign, like, but But when someone that I love gets hit with something that I know, all of a sudden now I could care about that. It's true with, it could be, what are some of the things that, it's interesting for me growing up, things that I wouldn't be mad about. Like it could be, whether it was a racial injustice, I'm like, it wasn't personal to me. And I was at the age where I was so selfish. I didn't even think about how that could be a personal problem, even though it was a global problem. And thank God those things change. It could be that with education, it could be that with economy, it could be that with all sorts of things, but it means you care. So if you get mad at God, maybe you're here, you're listening, you are mad at God. It's a sign of life. It's a sign that this is a big enough deal you don't want to dismiss. Because if you didn't care about your role with God, your relationship with God, it'd be like, whatever, right? It's because you're mad, you're disappointed, you're hurt, you don't see, you're confused. And it's not your job to solve that. And so just, if that's you, I would say be honest with it, get alone, and just let her rip, man. Tell God what you think, write it down, shout it out, tell him what you think, and put the onus on him, not to do party tricks for you, but to respond. And I think just historically, biblically, when you tell him what you think, even if it's not polite, it's fine. He can handle it. He's got broad shoulders. And it allows you then to be now positioned for him to respond. And so if you don't speak your anger, I don't think you're positioned for him to share his comfort, right? If you're here and you have some anger there and you're like, okay, well, I get it and I just don't know what to do with it, try serving. Ideally, is there a way you can serve to fight that specific injustice? Right? That's great. If not, serving others is going to help. Bring community and process it. If you're here and you're like, I can't remember the last time I was angry or angry with God, that's fine. There'll be probably a time coming up that you'll have an opportunity to apply this. But in the meantime, give people space to do that. Let's be the type of people who we can be friends and help direct and help serve and not isolate people when they need it the most. So
that's good. Do you think if we end here, people are going to be mad that we're not going any further?
Yeah. And I'll tell you one positive way they can redirect that bad boy is they can go back and listen to any other Riff episode they missed. That's what they could do.
Yeah.
I mean, we could elongate this, but
you think it's elongate?
As a matter of fact, I did, but now that I said that, I don't think it is. Maybe lengthen, elongate.
To make it longer, right? Elongate. You're the doctor. I'm not.
Yeah, but I'm not a doctor of elongation.
Oh,
no, I'm not.
That sounds really.
Yeah. No, I think those are different ads that come up. So, matter of fact, we might have just found our first sponsor, Justin. We might have found our first sponsor. That's so good. Yeah, we better cut this episode off right now.
We're gonna head on out. Yeah, this is it here, man.
Goodbye. Before we say something dumb.
Okay.
Well, another dumb thing. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Riff. We'll have a brand new episode every week, wherever you find podcasts.